Hello everybody, here in Jakarta for my Prix. Nothing, yesterday a bit tricky, obviously getting used to the new things, electrical energy, managing the engine during the race and the batteries. And yeah, I mean, it's very nice experience to be here. The fans are amazing here. And looking forward for today, later on qualifying. Let's see what we can do and what we can bring on there. We can make an improvement. See you.
Quali to begin with.
Okay quali. Same position as yesterday. Work to do. You know, the Maserati is obviously very quick. So we gotta find a little bit more pace to compete with them. But yeah, let's see how the race will go. I mean, it's going to be a longer race today, a little bit more challenging on energy. So let's see how we go.
Is this going to be a kind of sit back, assess the situation, maybe make the people in front use a bit more energy?
I'm not exactly sure. You know, yesterday was kind of a pure pace race, so less of the playing the games, let's say. I think today there won't be that many games as well. So I think it will be a race on pace. For sure, the energy will be a little bit more of a factor today, but I think quickly it'll become a pace race.
I love it. I love it that there's so unknowns. It's always so exciting. Let's have just a quick chat with Jean-Eric Vergne after this selfie. There we go. Right, Jean-Eric Vergne. It was pretty tight in the qualifying groups, just to very narrowly not make it into the duels.
Yeah, 1,000 to Stoffel.
Incredible.
1,000.
I mean, that's an incredibly small amount of time. What would that be in distance? Are we talking millimeters?
It must be. It's almost nothing.
Love it. Okay, well, let's talk about the race then. Game plan, because we have seen good performances from even further back from where you're starting.
Yeah, starting 9th today, so everything's possible. I just hope we were able to improve the car from yesterday because the pace was not that great. And if we have a good pace, and I think we can be quite good on energy as well. So hopefully I can come back in the field and see where I can end up.
Are they new sunglasses?
Sorry?
Are they new sunglasses?
I bought them in Monaco.
I didn't see them in Monaco. I really like them. They're very cool. Very cool. Thanks, Joe. Right, let's find our way back to Dan Tickton. We promised you Tickton, and we're going to deliver. We're going to deliver like DHL deliver our race logistics. Here we go. Now, before we get to him, was there any questions specifically for Dan in the chat?
People was just saying his donut was cool. So.
People love. Just going to come and speak to you, Dan, because people on the Instagram live chat, they love the donut.
Did they?
They did. They enjoyed it. They're talking about it in the comments.
It's one of my poorer efforts, I have to say. But the last shot was cool when I came through the smoke.
The big smoke screen, it was epic. Okay, talk to me about where you are. How was qualifying? What's the game plan now for the race?
Terrible, I would say, was qualifying, but it's weird. We put the second set on, and normally you improve. We just had no grip on the second set. Other drivers have complained of discrepancies between sets through this year, and that's the first time for me personally I've seen it have that big of an impact. As soon as I went in through turn one and I tried to lean on the tyre, I just felt no grip, and I knew that I was pretty screwed at that point. So we made some good improvements overnight, and I think in FP, like if I made a big mistake in 16, had I not, I would have probably been second in session. Yeah. So I think the pace was actually quite good. So unfortunately, just the tyres.
What does that leave you to do now in the race? Because we are going to see slightly more traditional style of Formula E racing as of this season, which hasn't always been that helpful to you.
Yeah, I think with the extra laps, we might see the races going potentially more in the direction of what they have been in previous races this season. So maybe people saving a bit more at the start. So that might throw a bit of a spanner in the works. But I think, you know, look, for us, to be brutally honest, we're still struggling with efficiency. So I think with where I'm starting, I think I'm going to try and be as efficient as I can in the first 10 laps, maybe drop away from the pack and hope for some kind of incident, because I think that's probably our best chance of getting to points. Unlikely that I'm going to overtake 10 cars, unfortunately.
Stranger things have happened, mate. See you there. Right, let's quickly talk to Sergio as well. We'll quickly talk to you, Sergio. These are are these the hardest conditions that you've ever raced in Formula E?
Most likely. I would compare that. Another very tough one, believe it or not, was London last year. The steering effort was just crazy. And I'd say this is the second toughest I've ever had. Because it's very hot, but the steering effort here is not that bad.
So as a Brazilian, is the heat affecting you as much? Because every time Nelson comes into the commentary booth with me, he goes, "God, it's freezing in here."
Well, I'd say it helps, yeah. If you're just used to spending many years of your life in this warmer conditions, I guess you get less annoyed by the heat and about the sweat because you're just more used to it. But there's many years I've been living in Europe, and this is also much more humid than Brazil, than where I come from in Brazil at least. So I also struggle, but I guess not as much as Dan, for example, or other. But he spends most of his life on vacation anyway, and he's probably used to it.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a slight difference in the tan, for sure.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a difference. But I guess, yeah, it's not a disadvantage. Let's put it like that.
Okay, right, this. Cheers, Sergio. Right. There we go. There's the Neo 333. That's right. We've got to be careful, because it's all about the long game. We want to keep bringing you access, keep getting you close to drivers and teams. If we start showing things they don't want us to, they'll just tell us we can't do it anymore. So that's what it's a balance. It's a balance. So I think we've struck a good balance. What do you think, guys in the chat? Do you think you get more access, more exclusives here in Formula E than you do elsewhere? I do. I've certainly feel really. Let's talk a little bit about the weather, because we've had a few drivers now talk about these conditions. There's two main things I want to bring up, but obviously temperature-wise, we're looking at today slightly less than yesterday, kind of a 32 to 34 degrees. The humidity's right up there at 75%, so there's a lot of moisture in the atmosphere. You're kind of instantly sweating. I'm saying that as a guy in kind of light trousers and a black sports top. These guys are sitting in race suits and helmets and stuff, which probably weigh about 4 kilos and a good couple of mil thick. So, they've got it much worse for sure, and you can see the way they come out of the car, they're really struggling. And I feel today certainly more sluggish with the way the heat sort of battered us all yesterday, so I can't even imagine what these guys must be feeling today, knowing that they've got a race, in a pretty grueling race, and what will be even more demanding when it comes to the energy management side of stuff. Their mental game is going to have to be a lot stronger today, because it's not going to be as much of a flat-out race as yesterday was. So yeah, a few things to think about. Anything in the chat? It says that there was a question about any chance of thunderstorms and the freak rain showers you often get in Asia and Southeast Asia. And there's always a chance. I mean, that is the nature of the weather here. Like, it can just change. And then when it does rain, it can suddenly just pour. So there's always a chance, depending on how the system's moving. But I looked at a couple of radars and satellite maps this morning, and it looked like if there was going to be any today, it was around 4 p.m. Local time, so it was after the race, and it was just a few millimetres. So there might be some light showers later, but I don't think it's going to be during the race unless things change significantly. But good question. Is there anything else we'd like to know from the chat? Some Brazilian fans in the house. Well, hopefully you're enjoying that chat with Sergio about Brazil. Let's talk with Mr. Formula E, Lucas Degrassi. Lucas, we're going to chat with you. We're on Instagram Live with Formula E, and there's a lot of Brazilians in the chat who have requested to talk to you.
They're awake? It's like in Brazil, it's like...
Don't underestimate the dedication of Formula E fans.
No, I think they're going to sleep there. Brazil is like 10 hours behind.
They're dedicated.
Yeah, nice.
Okay, so talk to me. It's been a challenging weekend for you, and I saw your post yesterday that even though you made up loads of positions, you still felt like things could have been better.
Yeah, I mean, since Mexico, which kind of everybody was trying to understand the car, which was the first race, I think was the only opportunity we had to score a podium, and we did it. After everybody understood better the car, we fell behind, and we are trying to improve, but the field is very competitive. So the last few races, we are struggling. We are trying to make the car better. We are making some improvements, but not enough. So today we qualified 19th. Again, in the back of the field, it's going to be a hard race. But honestly, my lap was not that bad. I could have done maybe slightly better, but there is still a lot of pace missing. We need to investigate and try to make it better. But It's Formula E is very hard. It's very hard to get the car, to understand what's wrong, and because of the way it works, you can only homologate the powertrain every 2 years.
Yeah.
So even if we know that things that we can do a big step, we cannot change it right now because we have to wait the homologation period.
Okay, interesting. Let's talk about the conditions as well, because I was just talking to Sergio about if there was any slight advantage with being from Brazil and being more used to hotter temperatures. Do you feel that? I saw you did some sauna preparation before this.
Not in Brazil. Yeah, I'm Brazilian, but originally I'm from Italy. And I haven't been living in Brazil for now almost 20 years. So
no advantage.
It does not any advantage at all. Although, yeah, I do a lot of sauna. I do a lot to prepare for hot races like this, that you lose a lot of water. But essentially you need to be fit. So you need to run, you need to cycle, you need to be... Motorsport, it's not the type of sport that you can finish the activity tired. You have to finish the activity well, because if you're tired, you can do a mistake in the last corner of the last lap and crash the car, and whatever you did the whole race doesn't matter anymore. So you can never do a mistake. So you can never really get tired. So that's why the level of fitness needs to be very high, much higher than the requirement to drive the car, because then you have mental clarity of all the decisions you do during the race.
Super interesting. Thanks for the insight, Lucas.
Thank you.
See you later on. Right, let's just park up here and answer some final few questions. I'll let you know where you can watch the race, and then we'll bring this live stream to a close. Any other questions in the chat or comments?
People are just wondering about Nick, and just to wrap it up, like, if he can come back
People asking about Nick Cassidy, who for the second day in a row did not make it into the qualifying duels as championship leader. His lead at the top massively slashed by Pascal Wehrlein's win yesterday. So he's got his work cut out for him. But we spoke to him earlier. He seemed pretty chilled. He feels like there's something on the card. I mean, this is a guy that won the race in Monaco from P9 in Monaco. So depending on how this race style ends up being and how the kind of format works with the extra laps, there's every chance that good points could be on the cards. But the general consensus, I think, for a lot of drivers here is that even though it feels very much to me that there isn't that much of this season left to do it, we've still got another 2 double headers and a new race after this weekend. So there's like, yeah, there's a lot, 5 races basically to do well. So there's a lot of points up for grabs in that time. So I can see why maybe he's not stressed that he has to do it all today. But I think there's every possibility to answer the question. Now, I'm just going to remind you where you can watch this race. If you don't know, you can head over to fiaformulae.com/watch, and on that site, it will show you and tell you everything you need to know about where you can watch the race in the country that you're on and what TV provider it will be on or where it will be streamed. Anything like that is all going to be on that website, fiaformulae.com/watch. All that leaves me to say is we are, just looking at my timing, right, just gone 10 past 1 here local time. We are just under 2 hours away, and way more than 2 hours away, an hour and 45 away from this race starting. And we don't know what it's going to be like. We've got an idea. Stoffel Van Dorn said it perfectly. We really don't know how this race is going to pan out. All we know is it's not going to be as easy for those at the front as it was yesterday. Plenty of reasons to watch. Will Nick Cassidy come out of this weekend still top of the standings? Will Pascal Wehrlein regain his lead at the top of the standings that he lost in Monaco? Will Mitch Evans be able to bounce back from the woes of yesterday? There are so many things to look out for and be interested in for this race. I'm excited about it, to be frank with you. So don't miss it. Enjoy, and we will see you very soon.